everybody, and welcome to the Fandom Flux Podcast, episode 61. I am your host, KCW, and with me we have Slicer.
Hello.
Zero.
Hey, everybody. How you doing? I'm going to keep asking this until everybody responds, and then I'm going to ask it more, because I'm that type of person.
Zero. Get new shtick.
You know what? I tried once. And it ended up being exactly like Kenchi's, because I didn't know what to do.
Oh, yeah, that was sad. Speaking of Kenchi, we also have Kenchi.
Hi, I'm Kenchi618, and just remember, everyone, if you have $5 and Kenchi has $5, Kenchi has more money than you. That's pretty good.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, so, before we do anything, I just want to do some shout-outs because just a blanket reward for donating on Patreon is, it says it's a stated reward, but for donating $1 to the Fandom Flux Patreon account, it seems very business. Sure. Patreon fund raiser thing. Yeah. So, if you donate $1 to that, then the basic reward is you get a shout-out on the podcast during the month. So, I would like to give a personal shout-out to Tylertron. You might remember him from being on the podcast last week for donating to the podcast. It's much appreciated. And to Tempest Troper, who donated as well, and will be getting his actual reward at some point in the future because he's fucking busy and stuff. So, I should probably say those rewards were delivered. Well, at least Tylertron's.
I think
that's the thing that you have to do. That's the thing that you have to do on the Patreon page. I should probably do that.
Mm-hmm.
Whoops.
Unless that was all a fever dream, anyway. You wish it was.
It was a weird episode.
It wasn't too bad.
It was okay. Yeah, so thank you to the people that donated. If you donate during the month of November, you will be shouted out in the month of December, naturally. So,
these payments go through at the end of the month, so.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So, moving on to what we usually start with, but not this week because we had donations and I wanted to be nice and say thank you because, you guys were nice.
It's better to have it at the beginning rather than the end.
Yes. Because everyone hears it that way.
Mm-hmm.
So if you get bored, at least you heard the donation thank yous. So, we're starting with what we're doing. So, what are we doing? Me, because people asked me to go first. So, in the Manga Reflux episode last week, someone asked for help. Probably in the wrong video, to be honest with you, because the podcast is where we talk about fanfiction-y stuff, and the Manga Recap is where we talk about manga-y stuff. But he asked for help because he was having some problems. He writes a very successful Code Geass fic. I said it wrong. Shit.
We've won.
Code. It worked.
See, it's because I've been reading it, and I read it in the characters' voices, and I watch the dub,
Right.
and they say it wrong. I mean, the sub say it wrong as well, but I've been thinking of saying it wrong every time, so now I just think it wrong. God damn it. Right, so
Best of days.
So he writes a very successful Code Geass fic, and he'd been having a bit of a drop-off in the number of favorites and follows that he was getting recently after he introduced this OC character. And he wanted someone to look at it and see, is there a problem here? Do I need to... I just want to get a second opinion and see what someone thinks and, find out what's going wrong. Because there must be something
as we've
wrong.
suggested several times.
Yeah. If someone comments asking for help, generally speaking, someone will step in and say, okay, I'll give you a hand, usually. Sure. So, I saw it first because I fucking run the channel, so I get emails for every comment. Thank you for commenting, everyone who commented, by the way. And I said, yeah, okay, I'll give it a look. I'm familiar with Code Geass, so I'll just give it a look and see what I think. And it was a good fic. It was, I'm not entirely sure I would recommend it because of things that happen later on, but at the very beginning, it's very good because Lelouch it's a time travel fic. Lelouch meets God after the end of Zero Requiem and goes back in time to do things over again, to save people that he failed to save before, the usual time travel plot. And he's more assertive and more like a person rather than just a cold, calculating machine thing.
A series of plans, I suppose. Well, a series of plans, really.
Is that a reference to something?
No.
Okay. I don't know what that means.
Like, he's not a character, he's just someone who comes up with plans and then implements them.
For the most part, in the original show, that's how he portrays himself to everyone. He does have emotions, he just hides them very well, for the most part, in the show. But in this one, he's actually flirty, which is very strange to read, but, it's an interesting take on a reset. And I liked it very much. And then the OC came. With no fanfare, just sort of out of nowhere introduced, is introduced to the main cast by telling the readers how amazing she is, how beautiful she is, how intelligent she is. Then she plays Lelouch in chess. Loses, which is fair.
That is kind of his
At least
thing.
he didn't have her beat him in chess.
Yeah,
that would be that would be bad.
Mm-hmm.
But apparently, she knows a secret code that only Lelouch and Schneisel knew.
Huh. All right, that's confusing.
That she used while they were playing chess. And Lelouch decided to be a moron and respond in that code, thus confirming who he is to her, even though he really didn't need to do that at all. Especially considering he doesn't have a clue who the fuck she is.
Probably not the best of ideas, yeah.
While she didn't beat him in chess, she beat him in mind games and strategy, sort of.
She won the war, as it was.
Yeah, so here was my first problem with the OC that was introduced. She is introduced by saying how amazing she is, and then she basically beats the protagonist at his own game.
That's never a good thing. Like, ever.
That's not a good thing.
I mean, Lelouch is super paranoid. He shouldn't have responded.
Is he at that point? I thought that was kind of a Season 2 thing.
It's time travel, right?
Oh, right, yeah. Okay.
He was paranoid through the whole show, especially about protecting, his sister, by not letting anyone know who he was.
Right.
Yeah, so while he's playing a bit more fast and loose with that in this fic, not that fast and loose to the point where he would admit it to a random stranger person. So that was bad. That's not a good way to... OCs, you don't want them to overshadow the protagonist, because no one came to your story to read about your OC.
Unless that was kind of the point, but not this one, I assume.
Like, unless it's sleeping with the girls or something like that.
Yeah, this was 100,000 words in when this character was introduced. This character is and always was about Lelouch. And now we have this character that beats him handily, and we've never seen them before. We don't know where they came from. They just sort of show up and win. Okay?
Right.
What are we supposed to do with that? Yeah. So that bothered me greatly. And then she gets unceremoniously thrust into every single aspect of the plot, apropos of very little.
Mm-hmm.
So she joins the student council because, that admittedly makes some amount of sense.
It does, yeah.
That absolutely makes sense. And in fairness, that would probably be very fitting for another character that knows some of Lelouch's secrets, getting put in a position where she could reveal them at any time if she so chose. That's some intrigue there. That's good. That's okay. But then she also joins the Black Knights. Still not entirely sure why.
I feel like this is the writer saying, "Don't worry, I got plans for this character. This character's got a whole there's plans for this character. This character has a very big purpose. You're just not going to find out until later.
Yeah,
way later."
That's exactly the way he explained it to me afterwards, which was, yeah, I have all these plans and I've checked them through with my beta, and he says, yeah, it's okay, it's great, it's going to be great. And then, that's the thing, though. If you're checking with someone who already knows all of the plans and where you're going with this. The reader has no fucking idea where you're going with this.
This is why people call in a second beta reader. They need a fresh set of eyes for it.
That's also something that I suggested. All of the reader sees is you brought in this OC that beats the main character and has power over him, and all of a sudden she's in every aspect of the plot and no one wanted or asked for her to be there. And that frustrates people. It frustrated me. I admitted openly that after the introduction of this character, I probably would have stopped reading entirely if he hadn't asked me to read the whole thing.
Yeah.
So, yeah. That was a thing. So, yeah, I suggested exactly what Slicense just said. I suggested that he get a second beta reader that has no idea about any of the plans or anything like that, and just reads the chapter first so he can give impressions of what a reader would say about this chapter.
OCs are very troublesome. Because
they are.
Like, if you were to change out that OC for a character from canon, everybody would be fine with it. You know, if you were to do it well. But the problem is that it's an OC, and it's not a main character of the cast. And you may have plans for this OC. Maybe this OC is secretly tied to a character from canon or something like that. They have no way of knowing, and for the longest time, the longer you put those plans off and longer you put off that explanation, the more people are just going to get tired and fed up.
Yeah, I'm very much simplifying this character's introduction and not saying a lot about it because, frankly, I think people should go and read it and check it out and see what they think. Because it's interesting enough. Just the basic concept of the fic is it's well done. But I want to see what other people think of this fic when they get to the OC bit and see their impressions of it. Because, this guy's a decent writer. It's just a thing that probably wasn't handled as well as it might have been. Mostly because both the writer and the beta had foreknowledge that the reader wouldn't, so they wouldn't see the reader's perspective on all things that are going on.
This is why I feel very, 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 very cautious about telling my beta all my plans for my story. I try to hold off for as long as possible because I want them to be able to read it as if they were a reader. So, but my beta recently came up to me and was like, "Give me all your plans," and I was like, "I'll give you some of them." But you gotta. I feel like the main reason for a beta is you want somebody who can be able. You want. I think 2 betas is a great idea because you need somebody who can be like, okay, long term, these are stuff you should look at, and short term, this is what I need to be looked. This is what needs to be looked at.
That's absolutely the argument I gave in the end. Yeah. So. Yeah, that's admittedly never been a problem for me because while I think my fics are okay, they're actually kind of shallow plot-wise. There are no grand master plans going on in the background behind the scenes or anything like that, so I'm not really bothered about telling Slicer all of my plans, so I can just do whatever.
There hasn't really been anything controversial that would require a second person's input, no.
So it's never been a problem for me, but I can absolutely see why it would be a problem for other people when they try and write a lot more in-depth story structure. My writing style doesn't suffer that kind of thing well, so I don't even bother trying. Yeah. Yeah. So that was the debacle with the fucking request for help, and I got shirty with him and stuff, and as I tend to do, and I'm always... Note, for people that ask for help, if you get me and I say I will help, think very carefully about whether you should accept, because I am so very critical about everything. And I am not nice or sugarcoating about it at all.
Don't get my expectations up and then disappoint me, because I will be the most horrible person you've ever met.
Yeah, I am not nice when I am reviewing. So
I'm kind of nice. I mean, I put things plainly, but I try to tell them, hey, look, I like to throw in, hey, look, I do like your story. It's just this thing, but like I do like your story.
If you want it soft, go to 0.
Yeah.
Yeah. I acknowledge the fact that I'm a dick, and I try and be better, but I fail at it. So, if you want nice, go to 0. If you want real harsh criticism, come to me. If you want beta stuff, go to Slicer.
Sure,
He's cool.
yeah.
And Ken...
I don't know.
Go to Ken if you want fight scene advice.
Yeah, okay,
That sounds good, yeah.
I'll accept that.
Ken's good at fight scenes. That's his thing. Also, surprising amount of awesome sometimes. Just really expanding the scale of a story is something Ken's good at as well, I think.
Alright. So that's that question.
What happened in the end, anyway? Did he take it under advice, or just not heard back from him?
Basically, yeah, we got into a bit of a debate over the whole thing, and he amicably, if maybe slightly passive-aggressively, said thanks, please stop, criticizing me.
Getting on my word.
Yeah, kind of. I feel a little bad, but this is the kind of thing that I need, so I feel like other people should need it too. Harsh criticism.
Yeah,
so
you need to be harsh sometimes. I mean, there's no way around it.
And sometimes being harsh, you can get actual progress being made. And usually it's done because we're trying to help you, if anything.
Yeah, that's basically why we're here. This ended up being we were supposedly talking about fandoms. This basically ended up being, hey, here's how to write fan fiction,
Pretty
the podcast. So, yeah, we help how we can. So, and that's how I help, air quotes. Oh, God, I'm a dick. All right, so that's that out of the way, so we can get to leisure and fun stuff, like Log Horizon. So, have you seen this new shoujo series about Akatsuki called Log Horizon? It's great.
Why do they have to put Akatsuki so much? I want to see what's happening with the raid. I want to see battle. I didn't start this show just so I could see Akatsuki's love life.
Admittedly, it's not really her love life anymore. It's her
everyday life.
Gal pals. It's her gal pals moment.
I know. It's
Which, yeah, that's great and all, but this was never the series for that. I mean, I get her wanting to make friends, but did all of them have to be girls? All of them? Oh, sorry, the one gay guy, but all of them?
This is the part where I awkwardly admit that I have no idea what the hell you're talking about, because I haven't kept up with that series.
Yeah, basically...
So there's a raid going on, and Shiroe is there, and fucking... What's his name? The Guardian guy. I forget what his name is.
I think that's him.
So they're elsewhere doing raidy things and fighting giant monsters, and it's all awesome. And meanwhile, we have this B-plot going on in... whatever they call the city. They call it something in speech, and it's subtitled as something else.
Isn't it just Akibara?
That's it.
Yeah, something like that. And there's this B-plot going on there where there's a serial killer that is killing players and being an absolute dick and murdering people in the city. and the countermeasures that are supposed to be going on don't happen, so it's up to the players to try and stop him. And no one can because he's cheating, basically.
Yeah, basically.
Yeah, and this somehow turned into Akatsuki must save the day by getting help from 24 of her gal pals, and, you know... Seriously, why are all of them girls?
I don't know.
I don't get that.
I do like what they're doing with the flavor text of the weapons actually starting to mean something.
That's a cool thing that's going on. Yeah, that's a cool thing that's going on. I just want to focus on this for a second. I am always the one that brings up the whole girl power thing that we don't see in, like, Japan a lot, unless it's specifically a shoujo thing.
So now there's just too much of it, I guess? Or rather, only that?
It doesn't...
It's about balance.
Yeah.
Because the thing about equality, it means equal. So I would be ecstatic if Sakura got a bigger role in Naruto. Because then we have a girl character. Maybe we could do with another one. You know, maybe Tenten could be given a bigger role as well. And then we get, you know, decent parity between the genders. Hey, everyone can be superpowered and bullshit. Because why not? And we kind of got that in Log Horizon, because Akatsuki's awesome.
She is.
As is Shiroi. As is Natsugu. As is that little pink thing that sort of hangs on Natsugu all the time for some reason.
Mm-hmm.
But now we have Akatsuki just sort of being insecure all the time. And needs her friends, gal pals and stuff to be supportive. And that's a thing that I am stepping in some dangerous territory here, but that's a thing girls do a lot. They rely on each other a lot. They have their circles of friends and stuff. That's not really a guy thing to do. We don't, you know, rely on each other unless it's some serious shit going down.
Pretty much, yeah. Neither method is technically wrong, but it's just, yeah, that's just how we are.
I like that they're trying it. I wish they weren't being so forceful with it.
I wish they would switch off every episode. At the very least.
A bit of a breather, yeah, that'd be nice.
Because I feel like this raid they're doing is really super important and kind of plot important, and they need to focus on that. Because I want to see the awesome fights. One thing that I will say that's different between Log Horizon and freaking Sword Art Online. Sword Art Online had a lot of fighting.
Mm.
And Log Horizon so far this season has had nowhere near as much. It's been a lot more, let's focus on characters that aren't...
Yeah, Log Horizon has never been about fighting.
I know.
Realistically, it's a lot more been about planning and surviving, and this is how we're going to acclimatize to this new world that we find ourselves in. But this story arc with Akatsuki isn't really about that.
It doesn't fit in anywhere. Like, I'd like to see, okay, we've got bosses over in this raid, we're going to figure out how to defeat this boss, rather than it being glossed over and be like, yeah, we figured out how to defeat the boss, and now here's some Akatsuki for you, for 3 or 4 episodes, or 5.
I probably should have specified where I left off, because I kind of get what they're doing, because raids are boring.
Yeah.
Yeah, but at the very least, you know, there's interesting character mechanics and new characters that are being introduced on the other side.
They are. They could have specified, or, well, zoomed in further, I guess, on those characters, but for the most part, they did show the interesting part, where they first get there, they're discovering the ways to the bosses, but now it's just die repeatedly to the bosses and learn their gimmicks.
Yeah, it's just frustrating that this is not what I came to the show for, and this is what they've been focusing on for 5 episodes.
Yeah.
So it makes me wish I was watching a different show. So I started watching a different show called Lord Marksman and Vanadis. And Yeah. So that show just makes me want to watch Kingdom again.
It does, doesn't it?
That's all I get from that show. I don't really care. Okay, I'm going to bitch even more because this is what I'm doing for this entire segment, apparently. Lord Marksman does not establish enough. It doesn't. I don't know who any of these factions are.
It does a lot more about the light
Denardi is
novels,
the dick.
definitely.
And I know main guy, I forget his name, is the good guy. And he's kind of up against it, and he's working with other people who claim to own him for whatever reason to kind of keep his people safe and stuff. And then there are these sword dragon people, ladies, and they help or don't because
they're from a neighboring country and they have interests in the country or whatnot.
But the thing is, I don't know why they're helping or why they're not helping or what their relations are to any of the other factions that are going on because it doesn't really bother to explain them.
I think that's more of a rough transition from the light novel to anime because you lose a lot of the, I guess, descriptionary text. You can't translate a lot of the text that's in there well to anime form, and that's the problem with it. Is it's very like informational based, I guess. So,
that's it. I just want to watch Kingdom again. I'm probably going to end up watching Kingdom again, to be honest.
Kingdom's still ongoing. Just read the manga.
I don't want to read the manga.
But it's getting so good.
I know, but I want to watch the anime because the anime it flows rather than being still images. So I can understand what's going on better because I have shitty eyesight. And apparently the art in Kingdom is kind of not great. So that wouldn't help. Yeah. So I'll wait until the next anime season. I hope there's another anime season.
Alright.
So I watched a great video. Recently. Browse Held High did basically a repeat review of this film called Jerry. It's an art film about two guys that walk through the desert and get lost. And eventually one kills the other.
Whoops.
Not entirely sure why. It doesn't really explain it, but one kills the other. The thing about it, though, and it's really fascinating, is it's part of a trilogy about deaths of real people. And one of the films in the trilogy was about the Columbine
lovely
thing. And the hysteria about how it was all about games, and he was desensitized to violence and stuff because he played games. So the director of the films said, okay, if I'm going to understand this, I should probably play some games and see what it's like. So someone said, hey, play this Tomb Raider game. It's basically you go and raid tombs and you kill animals and stuff because they're trying to kill you. You try and survive and stuff. It's like, okay. And this guy being a film director, he picks out something very interesting. The thing about film is when you're making a film, you need to make cuts to, signify time passing. Like, you cut from some guys saying, hey, we're going to go to such and such a place, and then you have an establishing shot of such and such a place, and say, okay, they went from there, and they went to such and such a place, and that's how it works. But in games, you don't really do that. If you want to go to such and such a place, you have to actually go to such and such a place.
A lot of filler there, in a sense.
There's no contracting the time. You have to actually go and do things in games to actually get things done. So the way he interpreted this was to have a film that is basically an hour and a half, I don't know the actual runtime, but an hour and a half of two guys walking through the desert trying to find their way out. Let me put this in a different perspective. A big shot art film director, big shot for art films at least, decided to play video games, took something from video games, and put it into an art film. to put that in yet another way, something from video games directly inspired a piece of legitimate, accepted art.
I'm happy about that.
Yeah.
So, if you remember Roger Ebert claiming that games weren't art, rest in peace, bit of a misunderstanding, it wasn't actually his fault. Yeah, they totally are art, and have inspired art, and that happened like a decade ago.
Yay!
Legitimacy, people. It's great. Awesome. Now I just wish the writing was better. But it's a good video, and people should absolutely watch it because it's fascinating stuff. The way it all comes together.
It's good.
Also, funny, because that series is generally funny. So, and one final thing for my segment. I'm really going on, I know, I'm sorry. But you told me to go first. Dragon Age Inquisition. I jumped through some hoops to be able to play it for you so I could talk about it. And it's fucking awesome. Like, remember my last chance thing from last week? Yeah. They fucking, it's great. Fucking great. Great. Fucking love it. It's brilliant.
You're doing the thing again, by the way.
What thing?
Fucking
Swearing.
No, that was legitimate. It's for emphasis. It's fucking brilliant. So, yeah, I love a lot of the things that it's doing. Like, remember in Mass Effect, where all of your dialogue choices are positioned very specifically. So if you pick the upper option, that's the nice guy option. That's the paragon option. If you pick the lower one, it's the, you're a dickhead option. If you pick the middle one, it's kind of the,
snarky,
neutral option. And likewise in Dragon Age 2,
snarky.
they did the upper one is nice guy or diplomatic, middle one was snarky or mercenarial, and the lower one is brutal or angry. Yeah, they don't do that in this one at all. You get dialogue options, all of them completely interchangeable. It doesn't tell you a damn thing on what your attitude is about them. So you pick a dialogue option, and, that's your option. That's it. It doesn't say a damn thing about your personality or how you feel about someone. It's just you role-playing the character.
Huh. So it's a good thing most of the time, or is it stumble?
Yeah.
Or...
It's a brilliant thing. It gives you a pretty good view of what you're actually going to say, because usually what you actually say includes the text that it shows you, rather than it being, an interpretation, as you find in Mass Effect. So, for example, the entire plot hinges on a religious organization, and I'm basically role-playing a character that does not follow that religion. So, I can be nice and accommodating and have a very realistic interpretation of the world around me and stuff, and talk to this very super religious person, and she likes me, and all good stuff, it's great, she agrees with a lot of the things I say. And then I outright, flatly state, I don't believe in the Maker. And she disapproves, obviously. But that's it. It's not me being a dick, it's just me saying, hey, I don't believe in this, sorry. And it's great for role-playing, because we couldn't really do that in other games like this, because with the fucking Paragon and Renegade system, it kept pushing you to min-max that shit.
It did, yeah.
You're always gonna pick the Paragon option, you're always gonna pick the Renegade option.
Yeah.
That's your choices. You pick one or the other, and then you just follow that for the rest of the game. There is none of that. You role-play in this game, and that is amazing. I don't even know the last time I actually saw that in a fucking game. And where it actually meant something. So, that's great. I mean, characters will actually comment again. They'll bring it back up about things that you said to them before. So I told her that I don't believe in the Maker, and in a later conversation, she brings up that I don't believe in the Maker.
Yeah.
So
it should be.
It's so great. It's so great. So, yeah, that I very much appreciate. And I also appreciate that a lot of the choices that you make in the story actually matter. Like, when I say the story, I mean the previous games. Because I did the whole Dragon Age Keep thing where you can set all of your choices for the game.
Mm-hmm.
Ah.
And there was a DLC for Dragon Age 2. It was basically the, hey, thanks for actually buying the game rather than buying a pre-owned copy thing that they used to do.
Mm-hmm.
You get a character called Sebastian. And there's a point at the end of Dragon Age 2 where one of your party members does a really fucking terrible thing. And kills someone that this DLC character really cares about. And if you spare the character that did the really terrible thing, this character, the DLC character, will basically declare war on the city.
Oh.
And it is acknowledged in this third game that that city is now at war because of that decision, and that's pretty fucking great. So, I should probably talk about the basic stuff. The combat's fun. There's an amazing amount of stuff to do. I'm basically just gotten into the first main area, and it's filled with all sorts of crap that I can do. There's collectibles, there's little puzzle things, there's a lot of combat, all sorts of stuff. It's fun. The Kunari thing that we kept calling out as a plot hole, it kind of is still a plot hole, but not as much of one.
Right.
It's called out in the character background that you get. You don't get much one, it's like 2 sentences, but it's like, you are Talvashoth, you are an outcast from the Kunari, you are rebelling from the Kunari. So, it makes some sense that you would be okay with dealing with the Chantry, because you don't care about the Kun. You don't at all. So, I can't think of anything to complain about in this game.
Huh.
So far. I mean, I've played for like 6 or 7 hours so far, and I have no complaints.
That's great. Yeah.
And once again, I am trying to think of the last game that I played where I had no complaints. I love this game. It's amazing. Okay. I'll probably have more thoughts on it in like future episodes since I've actually played more than 6 hours, but you know.
So that was 40 minutes.
That was 40 minutes. I apologize, but you know, you asked me to go first.
You had a busy week, so yeah, it's fine.
I did have a busy week. Slicer.
All right. Early, or like, I don't know, the day before the last week's podcast, I got a thing in the mail. I ran a red light. So, yeah, I've been feeling pretty guilty about that. It was one of those situations where a yellow light comes up, and I'm like, I could make it. I'm in a hurry. And I was wrong by 0.25 of a second.
Actually time you?
It times how long the light has been red. And that was how long it had been. So, yeah, I got to pay $75 and do that at some point.
Only 75? Congratulations.
Yeah. It's 115, I think, if I don't pay it by, like, next month.
You run a red light in California, you can pay $493.
Jesus. That's a lot.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's for the big ones. So, like I said, you know, you should be lucky. You should count yourself lucky.
Well, I feel better all of a sudden. Jeez. All right. Well, aside from that, the early this week and late last week, I was playing Borderlands: A Pre-Sequel, and I had actually avoided it for a while for the same reason I disliked the game in total, but none of the characters match my playstyle. Like, any of them. It sucks. I hate all of them. I mean, Nisha is the only one that's close, and if she focused on submachine guns, she'd be perfect, but she doesn't.
Mm.
That's what I use, assault rifles and submachine guns. That's what I rely on completely. And no character has used them since Roland in the first game. It sucks.
Yeah, well, character bonuses for certain weapon types, it's not really that big a deal, but yeah.
Depends, I guess. It can do a lot, but don't rely on it. But yeah.
I mean, if you rely on submachine guns, then Nisha is probably a really bad choice. But you do okay with the Gladiator or Wilhelm.
That's what I used. Think. Yeah, Wilhelm. I found myself
or
actually...
Claptrap if you want to play the random number generator.
Yeah, I found myself actually liking Wilhelm's stuff, because you just take the cyborg tree, and then you get a lot of skills that go to weapons, laser weapons specifically. And they're really overpowered sometimes.
Yeah.
But again, I was nervous because I didn't want to play a bad guy and be forced to do a lot of reprehensible stuff. But I had actually overestimated the effect the game would have on me, especially when I'm trying to multitask and do several things. Like, you do a bad thing to one of the characters that becomes sort of your Cortana. And I didn't care. It just, I don't know. But yeah, for the most part, the narrative is fine. It's interesting, and seeing Jack become a bad guy it was worth it. It was worth getting the game for.
Yeah, I didn't like it.
There's really not much else to say about it. I mean, it's like the ending is worth buying the game for just to see. Or at the very least, if you're a fan of Borderlands, go watch the ending on YouTube. It has some interesting revelations and an oh shit moment for the entire series. But yeah. And lastly, and what's probably going to take up the most time, is I finally got around to playing Dead Rising 3. And when I was downloading it, I asked myself, can my computer run Dead Rising 3? The answer is poorly. I had it on medium, and when I entered the high traffic areas, my frame rate dropped to nothing. It was about 2 frames a second, and it was freezing off and on. I must have been using like 98% of my computer's processing. I'm absolutely shocked it did not crash on me.
Ouch.
Yeah, so I had to set everything to low, which made some interesting things happen. Mostly in the assumed last cutscene of the game, your character gets the girl and you kiss. And the problem is, my character had just finished beating somebody to death with his bare hands and was covered in really bad-looking blood. One of the splotches was right over his mouth, making the kiss really awkward.
Just like covered in ketchup. Oh man, I'm sorry. I just ate this hot dog and got ketchup all over my face, but we can still kiss, right?
Yeah.
Tomato flavor.
It was pretty disgusting. And one of the problems I've discovered with giving your player the option to dress however they want is my character was in as much plate armor as I can put on without looking retarded. I mean, stupid. I shouldn't say that. And so this included metal gauntlets. When your character is bit, the zombie just bites through solid plate mail. And it's a little flow breaking, I suppose. Of course, the gauntlet comes off to show the wound, because you can't just be looking at a gauntlet, I suppose. But, yeah.
Zombies have sharp teeth.
I guess, apparently. As for the game itself, one thing I really like is healing is now not like a dedicated action. You could just chug a soda and keep on the move. I mean, you can't sprint while doing it, but you can definitely walk and avoid attacks. It's really, really handy. Because I found myself constantly in Dead Rising 1 for the most part, and sort of in 2. I'd eat a bag of chips or something like that, and I would not be able to heal from it because the action would need to play out completely, the animation for it. And in this one, it's pretty much instant. It's great. Movement feels a bit clunky until you realize there's a fucking sprint button. I did not realize that until halfway through the game because it does not tell you. Yeah. Even then, both Frank and Chuck can kind of shoulder their way through zombies, and Nick Ramos is the hero of that one, and he can't really do that. And jumping does not avoid attacks as well as it used to either, so you wind up taking a lot of chip damage. It adds up quick. Let's see, what else? Vehicles are an absolute waste. There's only one vehicle that's good, and it's the was it Roller Hog or something like that? It's a bike combined with a steamroller.
Steamroller.
Yeah. And that is the only vehicle that's good because it doesn't slow down when it hits large crowds of zombies. Every other vehicle in the game, bar a few combination ones, will go to, 2 miles an hour when you're hitting zombies. It's stupid.
How does that work? If it's a bike combined with a steamroller, don't bikes lean to turn? How does...
It doesn't turn well. You used it on highways. That's
okay,
weird.
that makes more sense then.
Yeah. It doesn't turn great. I actually was making sure to keep my eye on the animation for turning, and it's very slight.
I'm glad they thought of that. That's pretty cool.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. There's a lot of really cool weapons, though, and all the combination stuff is great. All of them are, for the most part, very useful. Even the punching gauntlets that are, what are they, a rubber duck and boxing gloves? And their light attack is an absolute joke. He just really quickly punches them, and it does no damage. But the wind-up hit sends them flying, so it's a valid option.
So it's the ducky jab and the ducky uppercut?
Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah, it's cool.
Yeah. Overall, I would definitely recommend the game. It's one thing I wasn't expecting is how far in the future it's set. Like, until the very end, you don't realize it's more than a decade in the future from the second game. That was well done. I liked that revelation. It's like, oh wow, that character is that person. Okay.
Yeah. I got that spoiled for me, but yeah.
Ah, yeah. Oh well. It gets a solid 8 for me. I would definitely recommend it for anyone that decided not to get it on a next-gen console, or couldn't because they didn't have it.
Want to get a next-gen console for like $500? Yeah.
Yeah. I hope you have a good computer, though, or like playing on low options, because, I mean, my computer is middling at this point. When I got my graphics card, it was a great one, but it's about 5 years too old now. Well, it feels like, anyway. It's probably more like 2 years, but whatever. And aside from that, I've just been reading a lot. I got back into writing a little bit. I'll be releasing something soon, hopefully. Waiting on a friend to finish his half of it.
Oh, a collaboration.
And, sort of, like we each did our own fic, and they're connected in the same, continuity, I suppose.
Yeah, interesting.
Porn heavy, naturally, obviously, because that's just what I do. Yeah.
Send me the link.
Right. And aside from that, it's some stuff we'll talk about later, because it's a topic.
Okay. Ken?
Nothing important enough to drag this on any longer, so let's continue.
Oh, come on.
I haven't done anything. Not anything cool.
Oh, okay.
You work in the news, so, I mean, you reported on stuff that was
okay,
cool.
Fine. Pro wrestlers came yesterday morning to the studio.
This is what he means when he says nothing cool happened.
So, yes, I hung out with pro wrestlers for like 2 hours yesterday.
Which ones, so I can link them?
WWE wrestlers. Shut up. This is my life.
Okay. I said so I can link them, so I know. So I can... Hey, this is this guy. Ken was hanging out with
wrestlers.
Hello.
Ken?
Ken? We might need technical difficulties.
Hello?
Ken?
Hello? What the hell? What just happened?
Can you hear me?
Did you bump the volume on your mic?
No?
Yeah.
Okay.
So we were asking what wrestlers they were, because I want to link them.
Must you?
Yes.
Ah, goodness. Well, I suppose this is what I get for working in entertainment. All right. They were wrestlers Big E, Xavier Woods, Kofi Kingston.
And Kofi...
Kofi, Kofi, Kingston.
Kenshi knows people.
Okay. Awesome.
As expected, I recognized none of those names.
Neither did I. But, it's still an awesome thing that happened.
Yeah.
I didn't want to talk about it. Jesus Christ.
Well,
this is a podcast, Ken.
Dude. Fine. Yes, I will talk about stuff. So yeah, my job, I meet people that are on TV. And so what?
Yeah.
Things? Let's see, what else have I done? Oh yeah, Casey introduced me to the Book of Swole.
How
Oh,
are
yeah.
you not going to talk about that? Jesus Christ.
Yeah. And it's kind of all encompassing now. My swole is very important to me now. He introduced me to a sub-page on Reddit, Swole Acceptance, and their philosophy is simple. Embrace what is swole, and strive to make the world a more swole place. We are often bombarded with the ideal, and the vast majority of both women and men do not measure up, regardless of their swole. We all suffer from a lack of perfection, symmetry, and strength, and in comparison to those with great genetics. And we all deserve to feel good about ourselves and comfortable in our swole. Yes.
I think I'm on the other side of that. I have amazing genetics.
They're very anti-cardio.
Yeah. So, lifting and making great sweet gains.
Yeah,
The
sweet
ways
gains.
of Broden, who resides in the Iron Temple. And cardio and running and sex, because that counts as cardio apparently, are the ways of Brokey.
No one should have to apologize for being swole. Be not ashamed of your swollenness, for it is good. Others' misgiving is their own weight of jealousy that they must lift, with proper form, from their shoulders and drop upon the floor of acceptance. They talk about like lifting weights and shit in biblical context. It's awesome.
Yeah.
So good. It's actually kind of surprising as well, because you read a lot of those entries on that subreddit, and it's a little bit depressing sometimes, because I didn't realize, people that are swole, if you want to call it that, actually really get a lot of shit for it sometimes.
Yeah, I wasn't aware of that.
Saying, hey, fucking steroid freak and shit like that, and it's fucked up, dude. A lot of people work hard to look like that. Jesus Christ. Give them shit. It's not cool.
The only reason I don't try to be swole is because being swole would be a detriment to me.
Yeah,
it would, yeah.
That's a bad thing in martial arts, where you need to move a lot.
I respect it, but I can't do it myself. I need cardio. I can't be swole, or I would never be able to do anything.
Yeah. It's unfortunate. It's one way of life, but there are many.
They don't believe that.
Well, they've already
believe
decided
that.
That's
not enlightened yet. That's fine.
So yeah, wrestling and swole kind of go together. So yeah.
Good shout. Yeah. So I love Swole Acceptance. It's so great.
You're basing
Zero.
a character off the entire concept. I think we get it.
Zero.
Yeah. All right. What I'm doing, or what I did.
Mm-hmm.
So, day after we recorded last episode, or not day after, the day of, actually, I went to work, and we were having a GOC, which was when my boss came in, and my boss's boss, rather, came in, and he was doing a whole inspection thing, and I got a champs card. I got 2, which means it's a good job card. You're actually really good at your job card. And I got to take a picture with, my boss's boss and a few other people who got cards. So I was feeling really good about myself. And I'm like, oh, I got this report card too. This is a good looking report card. And I talked to my boss afterwards. She's like, yeah, you know that report card I made for you? I'm like, yeah. I'm really excited about that. She's like, yeah, I just scribbled out somebody else's name and put your name on it. I pretended like I didn't know how to spell your name.
Oh.
Yeah. So.
That's That's a dick punch to the ego right there.
Yeah, it really was.
That's not cool.
But you know what? I'm fine with it. Speaking of KFC, guess who's coming back in February?
Popcorn chicken.
Popcorn
Please.
chicken.
Yeah. Wait, that's just in your country.
Yeah.
Fuck your country.
Live in America, you can get popcorn chicken.
This is probably spoilers, but hey, I'm giving them free advertising.
Yeah.
So, popcorn chicken's coming back. It might come back in the UK. I don't know.
Can you send me some?
But yeah, they're dropping the bites, so that's one less thing I have to make, and one more thing the people up front need to make. So
Awesome.
I'm happy about that.
Good for you.
Also, I've got into I recommended on like episode 59, Follow the Wolves by Sailor Ren.
I like
So
that.
I reviewed his story, and I was like, hey, dude, the situation, the scenario was kind of felt copy and pasted. It kind of bothered me. Like, I love your story, but I feel like you could have done this better. So we got into a little PM thing where he was like, dude, that's kind of harsh, and I felt I could feel it start to get into an argument. So I was like, okay, dude, I'm just trying to give you criticism, man. And he ended up being really cool with it and explaining his reasoning. It was a really good moment of just being able to understand something like that, of why he needed it to be like that. He gave some really legitimate good reasons, and I said, oh, and I recommended you on the Fandom Flux podcast. And he's like, oh, seriously? I got recommended on something? And so I think I got us a listener from that.
Yay.
We'll see.
I mean, our subscriber count did increase after that, so I don't know. And I'm also hoping he kind of maybe, mention it on his story that it was recommended, so other people can stop by and say hi.
You hope too much.
You're subtle, Zero. I like it.
But no, he's a really cool guy, Sailor Ren. So that was really nice, because normally when I give a review of something and I criticize it, immediately people jump on you and they're like, no, man, you're wrong about this. I'm completely right. Shut up. Go back to wherever you came from, you loser. People get really touchy about their stories. I'm glad that he was willing to, accept it. He's like, yeah, I'm usually not very good with criticism because I haven't gotten a lot of it because I get a lot of praise. But, I'm trying to work on that.
All right.
So
We have lost Slicinus for some reason, so I'm going to try and...
Get him back. Anyway, continue.
Yep.
yeah. Also, it's allergy season, so I've been really nasally. More so than usual, apparently, according to Slicer.
A little bit.
Slicer? Yes, he's back. Okay.
Yeah, but my network dropped me again.
So,
Yep.
that really sucks. I hate allergy season so much.
I thought you meant my connection. But yeah, allergies suck.
Yeah. Don't really have much to say other than those couple things. So yeah. Been a pretty good week.
Cool. Okay, so that's an hour.
We were the topics taking up too much time.
Yep.
You took 20 minutes alone, Casey. You gotta learn to compress.
It was a worry, but, I fucking left it because, whatever. It's fine.
I think it was worth it.
If we got stuff to talk about, then we got stuff to talk about. And it was all fandom stuff anyway, so it's great. It's all on topic, as it were.
So if you...
So.
Yeah. Never mind.
Okay. First topic. And Boy Be Fresh was complaining that we didn't do this yet. So, training in fics. It seemed appropriate, considering we just recorded the first Naruto retrospective, where we did the fucking wave arc.
Which was training, really. The first real training of Team 7.
Yep.
I have to say, right off the bat, don't put it off. Like, if you can, try not to put it off too long. Because if you want your character to train, and you want them to get stronger, you gotta find a good spot for it, I guess. Because I feel like some in some fanfics, you will start a story and you'll start from the beginning, and you'll focus on a lot of things, but the actual training sometimes will not come until much later.
Yeah, for a series where you have a lot of fighting or stuff like that, your shonen genre, if you feel like, there's pretty much a formula to it.
Mm-hmm.
There is one or two ways. There is breather, training, threat. Or there is training, breather because they're training too hard, threat.
Occasionally there's threat, breather, training. But
don't write 6 chapters straight of training.
Yeah.
Don't do
that.
Don't overdo it.
No one cares after the first or second chapter of it.
Like,
Get to the point with the training.
You've got a cool method of training. Okay, cool. Done. Like, I think I did training once in Celestial Suicide Mage. Like, it was like one chapter. And after that, I was like, okay, so that's basically what he's doing when he's training her. That's basically, that's the gist of it. It's crazy and it's stupid, and you can probably imagine the rest. Like, I don't need to tell you exactly. Like, Yu Yu Hakusho. When they did training, they were just like, oh, time skip, and we will flash back to the training.
Yeah, that's a good method.
Yeah.
The thing about training, when you're writing it out in fics, is the amount of time you spend on it should correspond to how interesting the training actually is.
Mm-hmm.
So if your training consists of, okay, we're going to teach you a fighting style, and it's going to be a fighting style, and it's pretty simple and straightforward, spend like, I don't know, a quarter of a chapter on it. And just skip to the end of that training, because nobody cares about the minutiae of learning that fighting style.
If you're training...
Except maybe hardcore fight nuts like Ken. But there are not many of those.
If your training consists of, we're going to drop you off in the wilderness, and you're going to need to find your way back...
That's fine.
That's interesting.
That's a good one.
If it's, for example, your training is going to swing a sword over and over and over again, you don't need to do that.
You don't need to dwell on that. You can make some quirks into it so it's interesting, like, hey, we're going to put extra weights on the sword so it's heavier and harder to swing, so it's going to feel great when you do it lightly.
We're going to suspend you upside down.
Where you can't even lift it at first or something like that. That's fine. Just don't waste time on it. Just get what you need to get to. Make it a little bit interesting, spice it up a little, but get what you need to get out, and then just go. Yeah. It's not the interesting part of it.
You can also do the Yu Yu Hakusho flashback training thing.
Please don't.
Yeah. You can...
Don't? Why's that?
Dude, I don't like flashback training sequences because it's just... just summarize it. Don't show us that. There's no point.
I kind of like it, though, because if you use it well, I guess.
Yeah. Well, everything... You want to use everything.
Yeah,
well.
If you don't overuse it is what I mean.
Yeah.
Like a quick flashback of like, oh yeah, I covered this in training. I got this.
Yeah. It's... Problem with flashback training, it often feels like an ass pull.
Yeah.
Also, my brother really likes training in his animes and his mangas. He loves it so much. And I'm just... Okay. This is a training... If your story is mainly training based, like History's Strongest Disciple, obviously you're going to put more emphasis on it.
Yeah, and you also put a lot more effort into making it interesting.
Yeah.
So they had the weird contraptions and stuff like that.
Yeah, they always had weird things to train them.
And then eventually the explanations for the techniques and stuff. And
yeah. Because that's interesting. That's really the sum of all our points, that make it interesting. And don't dwell on it too long.
Yeah. Like I say, it's generally speaking, it's not the focus. What people want to read about. People want to read about the conflict, or they want to read about the relationships, or something like that.
One of the problems...
Training is a means to get from point A to point B.
One of the problems with The Gamer, that Korean manhwa, is that it spends a lot of time on him getting stronger and learning his techniques and everything, rather than actual plot.
I would argue the entire thing so far has been training. The only conflict he's in is the one he's in right now, and this is what, chapter 64 or something like that is on now.
He had one where he had to rescue the red-haired girl, and
oh yeah, right.
He had a few little things, but he had nothing really major.
I'm developing a distaste for The Gamer in general, just by proxy of all the other fics.
Does level grinding count as straight up training in this series?
Yeah, I think it would. Yeah. I think the best summarized training I've ever seen in a fic is, I forget the title of it, but it was one of the ones where Naruto is actually a muscle person, Swole, as it were. He makes the connection that chakra in the muscles makes you stronger, and it's a force multiplier, so he doesn't train with chakra when he's doing physical stuff.
That makes sense.
Yeah, there you go. That was the only time they ever mentioned physical training. That's it.
So basically, for your training, just don't worry about getting all the nuts and bolts in there, because really what everyone wants is just for you to get to the sweet gains.
Yeah.
You know the latest chapter of the games we play is called Gains.
Yeah.
I'm trying not to take that as an homage to the fic that I just started writing, but I can dream. Gains, dude.
It's all about those gains.
Yeah, you gotta get those sweet gains.
Oh, it did update since I last checked. Awesome. The second half of that chapter.
What, gains?
Yeah. Gains continued, rather.
Yeah.
More gains.
Strangely enough, he doesn't actually make any sweet gains in that chapter. No points in strength.
No.
It's shameful.
He gets better technique, though. He can create dungeons now.
Yeah, he puts points in wisdom, which I suppose if he puts enough points in wisdom, he will see the greatness that is Swole.
Maybe.
He will be enlightened to the ways of Broden.
What true path?
So is this a fic you're talking about?
Yes.
Yeah.
I kind of want to know what it is.
That's the Ruby Gamer crossover. Me and Casey both recommended the games we play.
All right. But yeah, wisdom's a good stat to put things in, because then you actually know how to train better and how to make good decisions in life.
It's not quite working out that way, but yes.
Everybody harps on the Gamer because he puts nothing in wisdom. It's all in intelligence, so he can memorize things, but he makes stupid decisions.
Yeah.
Yeah. The way they describe it in the games we play is intelligence gives you more options, wisdom lets you pick the best option you have.
Yeah. It's a good metaphor, too.
I like high intelligence, low wisdom characters. They're always fun.
Sort of, but then you get the same kind of thing as Naruto. You got good battle plans, but sometimes those battle plans are suicidal or stupid.
They're good for comedy, is what I mean.
Oh, okay. Then yeah.
Yeah, you get a high intelligence, low wisdom character, you get a genius dickhole, basically. That's what you get.
Alright. Onwards, I guess. I think we finished
Onwards
that topic.
to the next topic. What time are we on? We're on an hour and 10. We're fine. So, next topic by... Fuck. This name, dude. This name. Hugh FJ08 suggested that we talk about mid-scene POV changes. So, mid-scene point of view changes. So, when you change from one person's point of view and you see what they're thinking and stuff, and then right in the middle of the scene, you switch sides and you start looking at the other person's point of view and seeing what they're thinking and how they're reacting to the situation and how things are progressing.
I'm gonna say on this, if you're gonna do that, don't spend too long on that one person's perspective. You want to have, I guess, a primary perspective to go through.
Yeah.
If
Also,
anything.
don't have too many people. If you have, if you're doing the tuning exams and you have 12 people in the same room that you need to have react, just start
Don't do
being
that.
really, don't do that, actually, yeah.
You don't want to do too many people. I can understand if you're doing a primary voice in this section, the scene is this character, but I want to flash over real quick to this character to see what they're thinking. That's fine.
Yeah. A lot of the time you see it happen is because there's one thing going on, and then you will have someone else that is an expert that will be able to tell you exactly what's going on and why this and this and this is happening. That's a lot of the time how you see it in manga.
Yeah.
And that's how they do it.
So it's perfectly fine.
And a lot of the time I like seeing it in fights. Like just one-on-one fights, the simple ones, so you can get one person's side and then the other person's side.
It's great
and
for fights.
It's fun. I like doing that. Thing is, don't bounce around. Try and keep to as few POV changes as possible, because if you keep changing that, it's just going to get confusing. So, best case scenario, once, maybe twice.
I'd say in terms of actual people, 2 is acceptable. 3 is kind of pushing it, but it can be done. Don't do 4. Because if you have 4 voices bouncing around the same scene, like if you want to get those person's opinions, flash to another scene and then flash back as that character. Like, if you're really trying to do things like that.
I see what you're saying, but that feels like you're trying to make it less confusing by making it more confusing.
Yeah.
I suppose on the author's end it would be more confusing, but yeah.
Like if you go and, okay, this person's doing it, and then, oh, these people are fighting over there, and then you come back, and then you take it from this other character's point of view that you wanted to talk about in the last thing. That's acceptable. It can get confusing. It can get a little bit jarring, but it's a fix. Depends on how well you can
kind of need
execute
to
it.
go back in time for that sort of scene, though. That sort of thing.
I'd say the best way is to not go back in time and just try to keep the continuity up, and then they can maybe reflect on it later.
Yeah, it feels like it's a patch solution on a thing that you probably shouldn't try and do in the first place.
Yeah,
so keep POV changes simple. Do as little as possible. When you do it, you can do it well, absolutely. Just keep it simple once or twice so you can get everyone's side in a very simple conflict. If you try and do it in a large conflict, like Zero said, make a focal point. Make a single character that this is going to focus on during this conflict. So you can always go back to their perspective, and that's going to be the main one.
Or, it's great if you're doing a fight and everybody's being knocked unconscious because, ooh, this character gets knocked unconscious. Let's see what this character's thinking. That's a great way to remove perspectives.
Yeah.
Okay.
So.
Okay.
Yeah.
Anything else to say for POV changes?
I covered it, I
Really
think.
could have been a question.
Just be careful doing it, overall.
Yeah. Kenshi died.
Wow, this week has been very, I don't know, technical difficulties.
I did not die. I was simply busy doing something at the moment.
Oh, okay. Sure. Right, so, just make sure that you do as little as possible, and that when you do it, you establish very clearly what's just happened, that you've switched to someone else's perspective. You don't have to make it, blindingly obvious, hey, we're going to do a page break, and we're going to say, hey, this is this character's perspective, and just put their name in bold or something.
Yeah, don't say
do that.
The so-and-so's POV. You can just start the next scene with their name. And
Fuck that. Do that. I hate switching perspectives, and then it doesn't make it obvious who it is. Maybe that's just a first-person problem, but...
That's not establishing well enough. That's not necessarily a problem with...
If it's third person, it's fine to not use that. But if you're doing first person POV changes,
then you need to outline it. Yes.
Yeah, then you would need that. But honestly, I'm kind of against first-person POV changes.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of first person. Anyway, having the POVs changed.
Yeah, I'm not. Yeah, first person is not the best. That's why most people switch to third person.
If you can do first person well, then you're great. If not, write some other method. I don't fucking know. Just find another way.
If you're feeling really interested, try second person.
I hate second person. I can't read it. I don't know why.
Second person is choose your own adventure style, yes?
Yeah.
You are doing this thing. Yeah.
I once read a
Pretty
whole
much.
book written like that.
Was it a choose your own adventure book?
No, it was actually a serious book, and it was kind of really cool.
I used to love those things.
Man, I love those. They still exist.
They do.
It's great.
Yeah, I read some fucking Goosebumps ones when I was a kid. They were great.
Yeah.
It's a metaphor for who I am, because everything I picked I never got a good ending on an early try. I always got myself killed.
Well, that's the thing. Almost every outcome was that you get killed.
I kind of
Choose Your Own
want
Adventure
to...
books, there's like 20 endings, and all but one of them is a good ending.
There was
I kinda
one
wanna-
that wound up with me
bad
being a
endings.
murderer.
Yeah, I kind of
Wow.
want to
I got
experiment.
everything.
I kind of want to experiment with one later, where maybe you end each chapter with a poll.
That doesn't work well,
You
by the way.
can't do that on fanfiction.net. It is against the terms of service.
Darn you!
Wait, do you
And,
mean
it
a
is actually
literal
against-
poll on your profile, or just like people review with their pick?
Either or.
Because, man, I can kind of see why that second one would be against their terms of service, because it inflates the review count for
it's a
something
review
that's...
spam.
I was really thinking of the poll on the profile. Is that
But either way, it's against the terms of service. I checked it up when I updated my last fic, so yeah, you can't do that. Not on fanfiction.net. You get reported pretty quickly, I think.
click to writing.com where they have the interactive stories function?
Hey, but Game Informer just came.
Oh, cool.
Awesome.
All right, let's do the
Great.
next topic.
Magazines, really? Okay. Next topic. I think we should probably just get to the questions, to be honest.
We probably
All right.
should, yeah. I have a feeling this is going to be a medium topic. Going to take a while, but not very
Maybe.
long.
I don't know. Well, there is a lot more to talk about now. I think about it rather than just fucking...
Yeah, we have a lot of questions, too.
Yeah. We have a lot of questions. Okay, so,
Yeah, great.
first question. From Easy J Peasy, by the way, cool name. It's
Mhm.
nice and easy to say, unlike UFJ08. So, how far do we plan before we start writing a fic, basically? Paraphrasing, but yeah.
I don't plan until after I'm sure I'm going to do a second chapter. I'm not even
That's
joking.
a good decision, really.
Like,
I
I write a first chapter, this is my idea, and if people like it, and if I want to continue it, then I can start thinking about what to do next.
Would you like to know how much I planned when I was writing the Astounding Naruto Fox?
The
0?
concepts, and that's it.
Pretty much, and then I just wrote that shit on the fly. All of it.
Yeah.
Brother.
I plan major events, and anything connecting them is left up to what I'm feeling like when that happens. Otherwise,
Yeah.
I get bored.
That's basically it.
Hang out.
Yeah.
They get them all.
Somebody else?
I do a combination of both Casey's and Slashers.
Yeah.
The thing about planning ahead means in your head you've already written the story, so you don't want to type it out.
Yeah.
So it makes it boring for the writer, and I don't want to be bored when I'm doing this just for, my amusement and maybe kind of sort of for other people.
If
Yeah.
I'm planning, if I have a moment planned, it means I'm excited to write about it, which kind of makes me want to get to it. So I will write
Yeah.
to it.
I only plan moments that I'm really, really, really hyped for. That, like, I can't wait to write this. I can't wait to write this.
See,
Like, I have a few other things planned, but, it's like, I'm going to leave, this is my general idea for these events, and I'm going to let myself improvise how they come about.
see, the thing with having, hey, I really want to do this, so I'm going to write to get to it thing, I can't do that. if I have this really cool thing that I want to get to, I just get so frustrated that I'm not writing it yet that I don't want to write. So my mind is shitty and I hate it, but that's how I think.
So that's our answers.
It's a bit of a problem.
Yeah. So, thanks for the question, easy peasy. Next question is from Johnny. Will we do self-insert stories? Do we have plans for self-insert stories?
How would you do it, basically? I once did self-insert stories. When I was first started writing, those were the first fics that I wrote. I removed them from the website because they are horrible. Completely horrible. I had a friend beta read them. They laughed at me.
Do you still have this friend?
No, it's rather than laughing at me, they whenever that certain fandom comes up, they make sure to make a little jab.
Ah.
Oh God, what did you write?
I'm not going to say, but
it doesn't matter anymore. You've taken the stories down. What did you write?
It was it was a Harry Potter thing.
Oh,
that's not bad, honestly.
There's fucking 600,000 stories on fanfiction.net. I think a lot of people are okay with you writing Harry Potter, dude. Don't worry about it.
And I actually ended up having plans for it. I was like, oh, this could be so cool. And then it all went down the crapper, because I was like, okay, I got 3 reviews, this is 9 chapters in, and 2 of those reviews are just spam. So,
memories.
Yeah. If I were to do another OC thing, I would be a lot better about it. If anything, I would make the OC kind of be treated the same way they are in Sleeping with the Girls. Just straight, with all flaws, no embellishments, no superpowers.
You would be the best fry cook there has ever been.
Yep.
Oh, you could be in that fucking, what's it called? Devil is a Part-Timer.
You could.
Huh?
Maybe, but that's how I would do it. I would just play it straight. I'm not going to do any sort of embellishment or anything, or superpowers or whatnot for my character. Just use what I know. Shut up.
Frying chicken and podcasting. It's quite a skill set.
Yep.
I know other things.
Anyone else?
Yeah.
Self-insert?
My group, my other Skype group that I am part of, we decided to do, just jokingly, an SAO kind of thing.
Oh, God.
And it was just our, adventures, I suppose. And the only real interaction we had with canon characters was mine met Lisbeth when she was first starting out, because I was the group's crafter. And we just talked about glitches, pretty much, and exploits to grow more powerful quickly. How to cheese the game, really.
That sounds about right for you, yes.
Yeah. No, I don't play things fair when I'm forced to. I don't think any of us do, really.
No. Well, we don't play things that we're forced to, really, generally speaking.
Yeah, there is that. But, so it wasn't too bad in terms of Super OC, I suppose. I don't know what that would be called if it was a self-insert. Pathetic, maybe. And, we had a Rosario Vampire. That was more Super OC. That was kind of the point, though. Although the first part of it was, we were just regular humans. So we were figuring out how to become a half monster or like that. So werewolf would be the easy one, because you just need to get spit and ingest it. That would be disgusting.
Any bodily fluids.
Wound. Yeah, I guess.
Also true.
Yeah.
Remember,
Vampire would also probably be fairly easy.
I don't know the specifics of a mage, so that was what my choice was going to be. I think somebody's was chipping off a bit of a golem's core and becoming kind of a golem. Although that required murder, so that was one that was going to take place way down the line, once everyone's at least competent in a fight.
Okay.
So yeah, I don't know. I was okay with it, all of them. I doubt we'll release any of them though.
So, Slice's other Skype group are way weirder than we are.
Yeah.
My other Skype group is about 1 billion times weirder. I'm not going to lie.
You have more people to work with though.
Yes, and all of them are
I have another
insane,
Skype
except for like 3 of them, and they just show up to be in really awkward positions and then walk away.
They show up at the worst possible time.
Literally, there's one guy, he shows up right in the middle of everybody talking about dong, and...
I don't want to know. I actually don't want to know.
Yeah.
I'm surprised. Okay, so, next question. Ken, do you want to answer self-inserts?
I mean, I can't do it, if only because with the personality I have and the fact that I write only action stuff, really, I would be killed in any supernatural setting within 6 chapters if I had to be realistic.
I think...
I have seen it said that you put a little bit of yourself into Naruto a lot of the time. There's a grain of truth to that, I think, but, you know... Especially in some of your earlier fics, but I think we all do that in early fics, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
I think everyone does. So. And yeah, I've already admitted to the fact that Setasoji from Face Every Shadow was very, very loosely based on me. So,
no, really? I never would have guessed.
Didn't have to say it like that. Next question from the great guy. Cliches and their originators. For one thing, that was somehow on our topic list. The originators thing. That would take way too much research to look into. I mean, you picked out an example, but that's like, hey, who was the first person that did a crossover, basically. So, any other cliches that we tried to look up, it would take hours upon hours of research. I don't think any of us are actually interested in doing that, sorry.
Unless someone can find a list of fics that have done that, and if we find any that we've read, I don't think we can really make any kind of topic out of it.
Yeah, I think Ken was something of a progenitor for the root fic, sort of.
Yeah. At the very least, one of the first.
Yeah.
Back when it was a new concept and not one that people just groan and roll their eyes at.
Yeah, and I think I was an early adopter for the game fic, but I didn't really take it very far, so I can't really speak.
You were there
much to
before it was cool. You were the hipster of the gaming.
Before
thing.
everyone and their dog was doing fucking gamer crossovers. Fucking hell. I hate that series by proxy just because of all those fucking fics.
I like the potential it has, but it can quickly get out of hand. I mean, I like the games we play, but where the hell is it going to go after here? He just fought a Goliath on even terms. Beowulf and anything smaller is not going to be much of a challenge.
Yeah. It's gonna fucking... He's gonna have to start coming up with original Grim, like I did.
Yeah.
Hey, I did something before that guy. Cool. And it was a good idea, too. Fucking Mole Grim. It's cool. Yeah, so we can't really talk about the originations of fucking... The origins, sorry, what the fuck kind of word is origination? The origins of cliches, because a lot of these cliches are like a decade old, and
yeah.
I imagine a lot of them have just been straight up removed from fanfiction.net, so yeah, we can't even guess. And cliches in general, I'm like 99.9% certain we've done it as a topic before in a previous episode, which you could probably find.
Yeah.
Because I think we did it after I started putting in the notes, hey, these are the topics that we discussed this week. So you could probably look that up on the Blogspot page if you felt like hearing our thoughts on cliches. Next question from Boy Be Fresh. Card games, basically.
I like poker.
I like poker. I'm shit at poker, but I like poker.
I like Cards Against Humanity. I think we all do.
Yeah.
I like Cards Against Humanity. I'm pretty good at Cards Against Humanity. We have played way too much Cards Against Humanity.
Yeah. I've mentioned before that I have played this is probably not recorded though. I've played Magic and I've played Yu-Gi-Oh, but I learned how to play those games so I could beat my friends. That was the main reason, because I don't like losing, and I like beating people at their own games. I'm very competitive.
I got Pokemon trading cards. I did not play them.
Yeah, same here. I have a
I
whole
did.
crap ton.
I loved the Pokemon trading card game when I was a kid. I had no one to play it with. I still like it now. The online version's pretty good. But, yeah.
I had my brother. We played like maybe once, maybe twice. Then he got into Yu-Gi-Oh, and I didn't touch that. That was
I think
No.
I played once. Only once, and I was bored.
Oh, dear God. He has thousands of Yu-Gi-Oh cards in his room, on the floor, everywhere. It's retarded. There's so many, he couldn't clean them all up. There's nowhere to put them.
So,
Oh, dear God.
yeah.
Wonder what happened to my Pokemon cards.
I still have mine. I still know exactly where they are.
I gave mine to my little brother.
I had this huge box thing with all of them in. It was great.
I have like 3 binders full. I still know where all of them are.
I wish I knew where mine were, because some of them are probably valuable because they were first editions.
All right, next, Albz Sure asks... if
I didn't
this YouTube...
actually get to answer that because, yeah.
Sorry.
Go ahead, Slicer.
Here.
Go ahead, Slicer.
A friend of mine who lived down the street back, I don't know, 12 years ago, I think. We used to play Yu-Gi-Oh all the time. It's neither of us was very good at it, but he was better than me, so I kept coming back to play it. I don't know. It was fun. It was a way to pass the time when it was like raining or snowing outside.
My brother would bring his decks to school and play kids in Yu-Gi-Oh.
My brother-
Oh, now that okay, there was a church my stepbrothers went to, and after the sermons, there was this arcade room in the back of the church. It was great. I don't even remember what religion they were. I think it was Baptist, I think. And I brought my Yu-Gi-Oh cards because I was going to play with some of the other kids after the sermon thing. And I took one of my cards out, or it fell out of my pocket or something, and the I don't know what they're called. The female pastor of that religion saw it and went on this big spiel about worshiping the cards and that they were the devil, and it was a weird day.
Dude,
Yeah.
I lived in Arkansas in a small town, and I went to a private Christian school. Over there, they told me that Pokemon was basically demon summoning. Yeah.
Well, technically, it
You know
is.
what?
Um,
And they told me that, obviously Harry Potter is evil. Yu-Gi-Oh
witchcraft.
is super evil. My mom never let me watch the show because of that.
Really?
Yeah, growing up, I didn't get to really watch it. And, and eventually at my very same private Christian school in that very same Christian Bible Belt America town, I learned about Yu-Gi-Oh! And actually got cards from a friend as a birthday present. That was weird.
yeah. So we're basically just doing weird religious stories, right? So,
Pretty much.
So when my parents first moved to Stoke-on-Trent, they were religious. I probably would have been raised Christian, Church of England, were it not for this incident. The first time they went to the church, that's like, a street away from me. I walk past it every day when I go to work. They went to this church, they went to a sermon, and this woman collapsed in the middle of it. And my dad, being a doctor, well, medically trained, he was in the military, and he worked on, it was either the Channel Tunnel or one of the big tunnels in London, I forget what it was called. And he went over to, help, see if she's okay, do what he could. And he asked her what was wrong, and she said, "He touched me. The Lord, He touched me." And that was pretty much the moment that my parents, we're not doing this. So,
What was actually wrong with her? Just collapse, or
Just collapsed.
huh?
There
Alrighty,
are some people in who call themselves Christians, and I think that they might have legitimate mental problems.
Yeah.
Religion is a great smokescreen to be an ass or just be really weird.
That's not exactly my interpretation of it, seeing as I'm Christian.
Religion
I
is
am
a good
too.
magnet for people that have problems. So, you know.
Wow, this is getting controversial. Please.
No, that's not a knock on religion.
mm,
Religion is a good magnet for people that have problems because it can be seen as a solution to those problems. It is community. It is people helping each other, ideally. So, I don't see religion as a bad thing. Sorry.
Yeah, no, my comment was not supposed to be a bash on anyone. It's a useful tool. It's just people take it the wrong way sometimes.
Mm.
And the loud minority can really ruin it for the, I don't know, silent majority, I suppose.
Yeah. And the people that actually need the help, and it gets painted with this terrible, terrible brush a lot of the time. It's kind of sad. So, oh well, that got a bit deep and philosophical there for a second. I don't know why.
That seems to
anyway,
happen a lot.
Alfie Sure asks if this YouTube channel eventually grows to something fairly large, is losing the ability to interact with the audience on a more personal level a concern? And the answer can't be anything along the lines of, we'll never be that big. I don't know why, but I can't shake this feeling that's the answer I'll get if I don't say anything.
Because it would have been.
Can the answer be...
Well, this is a very well-timed question because we had more questions than usual this week. And we were like, how are we going to deal with this when we get even more? This is weird.
Yeah, we are, we're going to have to start cherry-picking, as Slice just said, if we start getting really, really big. And that's kind of sucky, because we lose, it's natural to lose that personal connection to an extent. You know, you're not going to be able to interact with every single person, because that's impossible.
If, for the time being, if we get to the point where we can't answer questions on the podcast, we'll at least try and answer them in the comments.
Oh, yeah.
So
always
if we
answer them. It's just not always on the podcast itself.
Yeah, if we decide while we're doing the planning that we can't answer during the podcast because it's just not feasible, we won't have time to get through everything, then we'll go through and see which questions we can't deal with, and we'll just answer them in the comments. Because that's just what we're going to have to do for the time being. And when we get... when we get to the point where we can't even do that, then we're sorry. We just won't be able to do that. So,
yeah, like it depends how big we can get, concerning what we talk about, and like I don't think we've reached a ceiling yet. Yeah,
we have very limited scope, but we're not as big as we could be yet, I suppose, theoretically.
Yeah.
Like, if we really do get big, we can possibly do things like streams to form a better connection with you guys. We
Unless
can do
I
things
get
like,
better internet, we can't.
Yeah, if he gets better internet.
I suppose we still could. It'd just be...
we could be streaming, say, a game from...
It would be streaming from me, because then it's just everyone's fucking...
Yeah, stream
audio, and we can have someone watching the chat for questions and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I guess.
So it's not impossible to keep a sort of a stream of contact, but to be able to have a personal connection with every single listener is utterly impossible, even at this stage.
It's not impossible at this stage, but it's implausible.
Yeah.
I think.
Mm-hmm. I mean, if we have 150 something subscribers, I don't know all of them. You only know the ones that comment. Really.
Yeah. We appreciate the ones that don't. Thank you for subscribing.
We do appreciate you guys.
Great, but yeah. There's not a lot we can do to counteract the fact that we're growing a little bit. Not growing especially quickly, but we're growing, and it's getting to be a concern. So, apologies in advance if things get a little bit,
impersonal, I guess?
Impersonal, yeah. So, last question. Guilty pleasures. Ryu Hitsuyo, thank you for that question.
Guilty pleasure fics / hobbies. I have to admit that certain shipping fics are kind of my guilty pleasure. Reading a fic specifically for a particular ship that I wanted to see in canon.
I like harem fics. Most of them are terrible.
Second.
Yeah.
But,
Yeah.
but good ones are great.
I write a few harem fics. I don't think I have any fic that's definitively not harem that I've written. Except for like a one shot or two.
Sorry, Ken?
A second Casey's guilty pleasure. I don't know why. There's just something to it.
It's basic male fantasy. It's not that
I
complicated.
don't want to go to that common denominator, but damn it.
It's because everyone's happy for the most part. Nobody gets their heart broken.
Yeah, that's true.
At least that's why I like it anyway. Nobody has to be... I don't know. You don't have to deal with the crappy spare the pair bullshit.
Yeah. Oh, by the way, someone identified who Kiba ended up with.
Who was
Who?
it?
It was... Apparently she was a cat lady from one of the fillers.
Huh. Alright.
She was in, like, one episode, maybe a couple chapters in the manga.
Great.
Yay!
That's a really obscure pairing. What the fuck?
Yeah.
Dressed in obscurity.
I know exactly who I'm talking about.
As for my guilty pleasure, time travel stuff like redo fics and God mode fics. Just they're fun to read.
But you feel so bad.
Sort of, yeah, because it's like there is no conflict here. It's a steamroller versus a baby. Something.
Oh, that was not a necessary metaphor.
I couldn't think of another most really defenseless object. Okay.
Like a daisy?
Yeah,
or
sure, a flower. Yeah, because that sounds just as good.
It sounds better than baby.
So, it's a lawnmower versus a lawn. It is something that is specifically designed to destroy everything around it, basically.
Sure,
right?
Why not?
It's specifically designed for the conflict because, that's why the fic exists.
Also, yeah, pairing stuff is an obvious answer. Although I don't know if that counts as a guilty pleasure if that's most of what I read. So
Naruhina.
Yeah, okay.
There's some guilt there now, I think. I think we're the cause of it.
I haven't specifically looked for a Naruhina fic in so long.
Oh, don't worry, you've got billions now. Don't worry about it.
No, I mean, I wouldn't look for them at this point, though, because it's canon, so everyone's going to be writing it just because. Which I am conflicted about, but okay, sure, awesome.
I got a second guilty thing that has nothing to do with fics at all.
Go for it.
Pro wrestling.
Fair enough, that's fine.
Yeah.
Fucking no.
So I had to actually...
It's soap operas with muscle-bound dudes. It's okay.
It kind of is at that point. That's a pretty good metaphor.
It's soap operas with Swole.
What's not to like?
I don't know. They can't... Nobody talks like that, though, in wrestling. If they did, it would be, but no. I wish they had somebody that talked like that in wrestling. I would watch wrestling if they had a guy who's a follower of Rodin.
Swole poppers. That's terrible portmanteau, but I don't care. I love it anyway. Swole poppers.
I had to go to the second page of the Naruto fanfiction to find Naruto and Hinata.
Seriously?
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh, we're all of them Sasuke and Naruto or Sasuke and
Kakashi and Sakura. I saw one. I saw Naruto and Ino. Naruto and Sakura. Feels like, and then the one that I did find that was Naruto and Hinata is Spanish, so I don't know. Sabe mucho. Naruto y Hina después de la guerra shinobi empiezan su vida juntos. Series de one shots del desafío de procesos de tu OTB.
You had a point about the backlash, though. Does anybody remember when Harry Potter ended and there was a... What happened there? Was there a lot of canon pairings, or was it non-canon pairings?
That was a long time ago. That was 2008. That was before I was even looking at fanfiction.
Yeah. Well, way before I was as well. So I don't know.
So yeah.
Wait, no, I just
remember
wasn't in the Harry Potter fan fiction at that point. Or the fandom.
When the films ended, there was a bit of an explosion of Harry Hermione stuff because basically the filmmakers were shippers for that. So there were a lot of pseudo-romantic scenes between the two during the films. So. Yeah. And recommendations. Do we have any this week?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
You can go first, Ken, because I think I got two.
First of all, let me just say that in this month's Game Informer, Dragon Age Inquisition scored a 9.5.
Damn right it did.
Cool.
Game Informer, it's the game of the month.
I gotta go pick that game up later.
And my recommendation for the week is not a fic. It is a YouTube video. It's 10 minutes long. It's the longest movie trailer ever. And it is called The Horribly Slow Murderer with the Extremely Inefficient Weapon by Richard Gale Films. It's fantastic.
The horribly slow murderer with the...
Extremely Inefficient Weapon by Richard Gale. It's basically 10 minutes of a slasher fic of some dude trying to kill another dude with a spoon.
Wow.
Awesome.
That's a thing.
It's amazing. I can't recommend it enough.
Okay.
And there's
Go with it.
and there's sequels to this trailer. It's like
As
five.
there should be.
There's like 5 of them. It's like a whole thing.
But now this murder takes years. I'm watching the trailer right now. It's great.
It's like the snail scenario.
Yeah, it is.
What was it? $1 million, but you have a snail chasing you, and if he catches you, then you die.
Yeah, just instant death if it touches you, but it's a snail. So you can move. You can change countries if you want.
Yeah. I love that video.
Yeah.
Snail's so cute when it wins. Just curls up in the money. It's great. Any other recommendations?
Yeah. I got one I actually ended up saving from a while back. SAO fic called Onslaught. It is... Aincrad is not a tower, but it is a vast rolling country, and Aincrad is the hub city of it. And instead of floors, every 30 days, a group of monsters attacks. A monster army, as it were. And so all the players got to head back to Aincrad as fast as possible and just defend it, pretty much. Like the safe zone thing is disabled for that event. And it hasn't got too far yet. Shinon actually is there, but she only showed up in the last chapter for, I don't know, the last quarter or something like that. It's sort of spoilery, I guess, but not in a major way. But in the first boss battle, Kirito gets the last attack bonus for the general chief or something like that, a goblin army that attacks, and it's a bow. He winds up trying to sell that bow for the entire story, because bows are really, really rare.
Mm. But no one wants to use them.
Sort of. I don't know. I forget the specific reasons, but Argo has a hell of a time trying to find somebody that wants to pay that much, has that, and then it's a thing. And so he winds up just throwing it at a random person that winds up to be Shinon. Yeah.
Pretty good.
Yeah. It's a really good story, but it doesn't feel like an MMO. It feels more like a random Final Fantasy style RPG. Because everyone goes south to the warm area, but Kirito goes north to what he assumes to be, and is rightfully so, the harder area. So he's pretty much alone, trying to do world-class quests. So we're meant for entire guilds of people. It shows he's 15 levels higher than everyone else, but yeah. Mm. And I'll get a link for that in 1 second. There we go. All right. Okay. Let's see. Second one is... What was it called?
Something you'll save for next week?
Nah, it's a short one. So, there it is. Archer of Black. It starts out pretty much similar to From Fake Dreams. It's a Fate Stay fic. But Kiritsugu does not have dreams of what's to come. He just here's how what's Shiro? I don't know what I'm thinking right now, but Shiro, his way of making circuits is wrong. So Kiritsugu corrects him and decides that, he should probably, if he's serious about this lifestyle, he should really know how to do it. And some time travel stuff happens when Shiro tries to get a Fey blessed bow to complete his fighting style. And so, yeah, stuff happens. I can't really reveal any more without being a spoiler, but it is a really good fic.
Awesome.
Probably the only one of its kind that I'm going to read, and that will be apparent what I mean by that later.
Okay.
Later in the fic. It's like chapter 5 of 6 chapters that it reveals it.
Okay. My recommendation, as I said earlier in the podcast, it is called Once More with Feeling. It is a Code Geass fic. It has a poorly introduced OC that I know very little about. But she doesn't show up for like 100,000 words, and everything before that is pretty awesome. Well, pretty great. Good. It's good.
Did you ever find out if he's just going to drop that OC, or he's going to try to change it?
No, he's not.
Or...
He's going to try and rejigger a few things, I think. Get some reviewer criticism to see what he should fix and what he shouldn't. I didn't follow it or anything, so I'm not keeping up with it. So people should check that out and see what they think for themselves, rather than listening to my very
critical opinion of it?
Very, very critical opinion of it, yes. There's some good stuff there, so,
I think I read a bit of that one, honestly. I can give that one a tentative second recommendation as well.
Zero, you got anything?
No, I'm just watching this horribly slow murder.
Oh, okay.
An extremely inefficient weapon.
Alright, so I guess we're done for the week. Stretch and a crack in my back because I'm an old man at 25. Alright. I would like to thank everyone for listening to the Fandom Flux Podcast episode 61. If you would like to get in contact with us, you can do so through the blogspot page to the comments, though we'd rather you didn't, or our own personal profiles on the fanfiction.net, though we'd rather you didn't, or on the YouTube channel through the comments. Once again, I would like to thank everyone for listening to the Fandom Flux Podcast episode 61. Bye now.
Bye.
Bye.
Thanks, guys. See ya.